Okay, so we all know that there's a lot of problems going on with the Las Vegas Raiders right now, including the head coach, the quarterback situation, obviously Luke Getsy getting fired, as well as the offensive line coach and the quarterback's coach. And what are the Raiders going to do to fix all of that? These are things that we know. But did you know that we still have $500 worth of prizes to give away right here on the Raider D podcast? If you want to get your Mad Max Crosby Just Win t-shirt, baby, all you got to do is comment down below draft QB. That is the winning phrase. And if this video gets, drum roll please, 20,000 views and 1,000 likes and 500 comments, we will select somebody from the comments to win your very own Max Crosby t-shirt, and we have several of them to give away. Again, over $500 worth of prizes to be giving away if we meet this goal today. Just make sure you're subscribed and we will get you your prize. Now let's get into today's video, and that is, should Antonio Pierce be fired? What type of leadership is he bringing to the Las Vegas Raiders? And was this really all on Luke Getsy? Was this really all on the quarterback? Or does this really fall on the head of Antonio Pierce? Let's jump into that and more on today's episode of the Raider D podcast. All right, Raiders and Raiderettes, I know we've had a rough season. In fact, we've had several rough seasons in a row. It looked like the Raiders in 2019 were on a roll and that we were finally going to be back in the dub category. But unfortunately, that is not what happened, as Coach Chucky ended up getting fired and or ran out because of an NFL leak and all of that nonsense. And we've just been downhill from there on. So now we have Antonio Pierce. He wins the job in the offseason. He's the head coach. He's the players coach. He's the cigar coach. He is the smoke our stuff, drink our stuff, talk our stuff type of coach. The players loved him. Practices were easy. It's a party, a bunch of music going on, some dancing going on, and not a lot of winning going on. And that is the problem. So here's a guy, Mike Lombardi, who I absolutely despise. I cannot stand this dude. I've made a video rebutting him before, and I don't want to keep doing it. But here is Mike Lombardi basically saying that this is Mark Davis's fault, and until Mark Davis either sells the team or hands it off to a professional to run the team and all of this stuff, the Raiders are just going to continue to be a joke in the NFL. And unfortunately, I got to kind of agree with him on this. At this point right now, the Raiders have to do something on a more professional level, and I do believe this is why Tom Brady was brought into the Raiders. I think Tom Brady is not going to accept subpar play from a team that he is now a part owner of. He is now one of the bosses, and so he's going to have higher expectations for this team moving forward, and hopefully he'll run it on a much more professional basis. And he'll be the one that is giving Mark Davis the advice, and Mark Davis will be seeking his advice, and the two of them will come to decisions together in order to benefit this team. But here's one thing that I want to touch on. In Antonio's presser yesterday, after firing Luke Getsy from the Raiders, he was asked, will he be bringing in the players today in order to practice or anytime this week? And his response was that of a classical players coach who has no control over his team, saying, well, if you look at our injury report, probably not. We probably won't practice. We'll probably touch bases like next Monday or Tuesday. What are you talking about? You just got blown out by the Cincinnati Bengals. You're not even going to practice this week because of an injury report? Yeah, we have some injuries. But those players who are on injury, they shouldn't be playing. Obviously, they need to recover. But the rest of the team, you've got a 53-man roster. You may have players playing after the bye week who've never played before in the NFL because of injuries. And you're telling me you're not going to be practicing? And in fact, if I'm the head coach, I call the team together after this embarrassing season so far, and then getting our butt spanked in Cincinnati. And I'm telling everybody, this is the deal. You come to work and you come to work. This isn't a play anymore. No cigars in the locker room. No music at practice. No fun zone. That's what this is. This is a job. You're getting paid money to come to work. And you better come to work. And if you don't, you won't be here. Now, you can say everything you want about John Gruden. John Gruden, plus and minuses, whatever. The one thing that John Gruden did not mess around with was, who is the boss? John Gruden. You're going to work or you're not going to be here, as he said many a times. And I'm not getting that feeling from Antonio Pierce. I don't get the assertiveness from Antonio Pierce. Not in the pressers and not from what I'm hearing from sources coming out of the Raiders. The locker room is lost. They have no direction. They have no captain running the ship. And you know what's happening right now is that the Raiders and Antonio Pierce are running Max Crosby's nerves thin. His patience is going to wear out with this organization. If after this season, we don't have a plan for victory, we don't have a plan for playoffs, we don't have a plan for a Super Bowl, and it's still all of this nonsense, you think Max Crosby is going to want to stay with this organization? Do you really believe that? Do you think he's not going to go want to play for a winning team? That's the danger that the Raiders have right now. We already ran off our best wide receiver on the team. And I understand. I actually agreed with moving off of Devontae this season was over. There's absolutely no trade value for him next year. And so we got what we got, which was a third-round pick, and the Jets took all of his salary cap. That was a win-win for the Raiders because we have nothing going this year. It is over. And that I blame on Antonio Pierce. He made an offensive line coach who had never been an offensive line coach, only an assistant, the offensive line coach. Quarterbacks coach not getting it done. Turnovers. The Raiders are the worst in the league in turnovers. Defense was supposed to be our stronghold. They've fallen apart. Joe Burrow put up a show on us. So there's something that needs to change, and I want to know from you, Raider Nation, do you believe that right now, in your heart, when you look at this team and everything that has happened, ask yourself honestly and then answer it down in the comment section below. Do you honestly believe Antonio Pierce is the best coach for this team? Do you honestly believe that at the end of the season, when there are other head coaches out there that are going to be available for the Raiders, that they wouldn't be better for this team to right this ship? Do you honestly believe that Antonio Pierce is doing a good job right now? Because I was one of the dudes calling for him. I wanted him, and I was wrong, and I'm man enough to admit that.